Okay, are we back?
Yes,
Yes.
we are.
All right. So what I found here, I'm showing, this infinite zoom.
Number so ni gain thanda day 20 the traject juni thanda nga zoom di 20 do di thongu do esi gisara.
So every time you think you're about to zoom all the way in, it starts over.
Cheza di le du sambala inju nga zoom in che thanda nga chik chu ni cher da jorwa cheza ne ma ting sabsa ju do jorwa.
So you're watching and you can see, you start to get close, you can identify these people, and then we're back to it being small. And so it just continues.
Cheza da dine pa ani zoom di pige thongje di ya ting sabsa ne yan theng yu sambala ani mi du thong tu che dine ma ya ani ma thasa ne ma do sin du yores.
So this is how I think about the scale of neuroscience. So we start with a really big idea, and then we start to learn more about it and go into detail. And then that just opens up more that we have to learn more about and go into detail and that, and then opens up more. So this, to me, demonstrates what I think about learning neuroscience.
Cheza ani ngarangi tadang cheba yimba ina digi kar tyungu du sidu sambala nganzu gi wangza seri khandes jangi yore se jorwa o digi pesu robu cha de dus khande re sidu sambala ani nganzu chap chesa chingni ma dus ju du ting sabsan ma ju du sambala ani ju ani shemba jik dus ya khache yumbe so robu che digi ya ni ju du ma ju du sambala ya shemba jik du ya khache yumbe so robu che tinde indu sambala nganzu ani kyabje chesa jini chungsa la man zui che ani dine nizu mangbo chik mige ting sabza ma sir dwe jorwa o di ani wangza tsiri gi nganzu lobzen jangdang gi rimba so do cha de yores.
So that was me cheating a little bit by showing something that was already made. But what did you draw? I'd like to see what you drew to summarize how the scale of neuroscience should be taught.
Cheza da di gen la korangi chenjo de res inju da tis chi khar se gore ani suzuki chenjo marwa ta pege tangbo ni yue chenjo chi en number soria dus piri ki thone pa tuen che ani tis jing go na we so do chi cha do yo res da yimba yin ya so ani number zung we ne tanji remove ko ya jwa te ya zo wangza gi labzen ani thidan de khandre ji kan la thikin yi si de didan je be thone number zu gong su song go yes.
So I would like you to share from each table, at least one or two people, to just show me and describe the scope of.
Da di chiri zambala ani ruka reg nano la rab chona da mini zik du sine chonan zu piri remove question jo di ani khande yimba di indishe kyab gu yes monal tuen sine mo tuen khande tuen gu gen ane okay ya ruka su yimba tangbo ruka piri tingyo gi remote tingyo na ruka su michi ni chen di yor sa remote de ya ani game pasan de parche de yo sa tuen sine dine ya ten shagre sa yamana de su pen ne disamara yamana de ya se ya peje de su su de ya da remote na remote yige ready ale so can you see their drawings?
I can.
Don't do this.
That's.
Ding khande down kyo ngal tan la. Ri gre do remote minda. Slide there. Can you close the slide?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I think, can I pin this one?
Oh, yeah.
Does that show for you?
We
Yes?
do have, yeah, I think the cameraman is trying to zoom in the pictures drawn by the students, and so that you can have
Yes,
their image on the screen.
correct. So I have pinned your video, which means that I'm seeing it large now. Perfect. Okay. Yes. All right. So I like this one. I am going to criticize and say it is all words and I wanted a drawing.
Cheza, yes. That number zos ani incuranzo ani digtiwa dile ani mora gabuchon ine yas kyunji jiyus kyunji di khari la de zambala ani incuranzo dinalo tikhan tisha ba du thedi si yanya reshas si mingsi dine janya.
But this is very good and I appreciate it. And here's what we're doing. We're all learning about teaching science. And there's a lot of good information here.
Ine ya an dili mora lebi chaji da gabu chigiyus karjine lana ani nganzu gi thanda lobse wangza khande tigu rese thalon dingala pheji tangi yores dili pheji tandu sambala dig nalo ne ya nizu mangbu shiuji nganzu pheji ta yue dewaji dinde cha dig dus.
What I'm seeing here is we need to prioritize the brain, and this is from big to small. So we start with the brain, then we divide it into the different lobes. We have to know what those lobes are. And then we get down to neuron, and then within the neuron, we learn about action potential. So I'm seeing the scope here from big to small.
Cheza ani din nalo la ani chi khardu sidu sambala pena cha shana nganzo ani so zunjin chesa dawdi ke cheshu chesa dawdi thangbu de leba de che tine leba ne ani lebe ki chashi suzu manda wa yoba che tine ma ani yanchi gi ma thasala ma pamdu de sambang nganzo linju ne nuba jorwa tin du sambala di gi ani chap chesa ne chap chungsan dre gi ani chapse ne ma suno di monang thong thuk dus ta ya lebe cha chi le ya.
Yes, very good. So this one is nice too. I don't read Tibetan, but I see the scale and the scope, and this is what I'm looking for. We're starting at big and then getting small. Can you help me understand what this is saying?
Yes, yes. The dia chig lebe charge la kar thong thog dulla ne ta morangi de ki phege de sing phu yigid lo thog yo mar de ine ya an chig rimba kar su gore in thosa jine ma chongsal dugu yo de be din number de thong de dus. So the supunchi kweba the first on the top it says the general physiological structure.
Okay.
And then the next one ombonga ngotre dan deshe. Then it says the introduction on the five sensory faculty, and then explanation of it. Wangza chapa. Then the third one it says wangza chapung gi kwepa da chele, the structure and the functions of the neurons. And
Okay.
then it goes down to logda da zeda tongda. Then it goes down to saying that the how the electric signals and the chemical signals transferred from one to another. Then it goes down to the protein structure and protein.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So I'm saying the first two we've seen start bigger and get smaller. Very good. And go more detail. Yes. So we start bigger. Are there other examples? Anyone willing to show?
아니 nganzu gi pense thangbu ni de nalo la namba zo kari thong thugu du la ba yimba ina ani nganzu chap chesa jini ma chap chongsa jile yan rugu ye debe gi namba de thong thugu dus di membe ge namba zo ne yan che gi se she shamba dinde yeah
Yeah.
yes
Yes. Okay. So I see this one with the example of the forest and the trees. So we start with the forest, then we go to the tree, branches, stem, leaves, roots, seed. Very good. So, yes.
that the number zo tanjing nganzu ani pige shina tokbu yo ba tena ani Tinema ani shingdongi chapchesa jine ma chapchongsa ki pyoda ma papdan di dinala segi duwa shingna shingdong yega tine dongbo tine tsawa tine ani sabyon da cheba dusine segi duwas.
Nice. Okay. Yes. Oh, this one is all in English, so I can read this one. So I gave the example of the tree. And so photosynthesis is a very specific function of the tree. So this is a product of something that I mentioned in my, I just gave an example, and then this brings the detail to the example I gave.
Cheza da di ani number zo kar chadi gi yore sidu zambala gela morangi ani shingdong dan tene number zo penzoin to ni shibares di penzoin di gi ani ya jinibzu ma shibta ma zu du zambala an number zo tanda di ani winju sejur sigi yobanere we devjur sigi sigi nare da di ani cha chishin kono koran so gi an thomo ma yimbe gi ani chele chadi gi yores.
So this brings up a really important point. This semester, I was teaching the sleep class, neurobiology of sleep. And I mentioned one thing in my introduction day. And that question came up all semester. Never before have I mentioned that one little fact. And every time I've taught the class before, it didn't come up. But this time it just became a really important part of the class. And it's just because of one simple thing that I mentioned in the first day.
Chezanda digi ani nidun karsigore yanchi kengam na intro budawjda ani kenga chembu dawsi lang yanji karre sidu sambala gela kurangi lon digi ani tanda nganzu dawasum girile lon tunjor wa lobzenti yagin tunjor wa o di lobzenti bi kablia ani gela kurangi ani tsijik tanijik dusine pyoje damba yins lobzen tanda ngojegi semba digi nano le pyoje damba yins yam semba jili yas an digi tanye di ani london dawasum gi gurim ani ngonen juba to di chane yando yongma do chaji dinde jini cha sons dingel ya dinde ani chongala soba dinde tani pheju tawala soba dinde chongma so ine ya thari korang gi dawasum gi luyin nalo la lobzen tv gi tuni digi nalo la dinde gi neden dinde chong sons.
So I want to take the opportunity here to say, as a teacher, you have to be very careful about the things that you mention, because you never know what your students are going to catch and hold on to. So you have to make sure that everything you introduce is very deliberate, that you intend for them to spend time thinking about that.
Cheza dilebdi zambala kuranzo gegenji ngwenes ani mege ngodre ge naloala ani kuranzo nizu khari ina khodu chigi yoba ina denzu tele ya ani chigi samno sabsab ta je dinde chegwa cha de gi yores khari jine lana kurangi 강 코트 제샤바 되게 나노네 롭주기 미게 다고자 달래야 디 카르렌 두고 예메데 간조 셰주 티기 마레스 디 인두 아니 미게 롭주기 미게 치기 롭쟁기 나노ala 치 카르소 이네마 롭주기 주고에 조르와 디 고두 삼발라 아니 켜란조 치 꾸누 체두니에네 아니 카르 표제 땅고도 카룬 코르 지고도 세 너조 공바시에 개침부 차용고요 레스.
Okay, very good. Last thing about this one, this shows actually the more detailed how the plants take in carbon dioxide, how they release oxygen, and then the fourth is how they are important to us. So if you think about this in the same kind of scale that we've been thinking about, you started with the very important detail of how they do that, the carbon dioxide, but then it gets to the point of how is it important to us, right? So that one is flipped compared to the others that we've been saying, big to small, and this is a little bit more like detail to general.
Cheza da number 2 ani di nalola ya ani nedu shugo chili ya chi khare agudu sidu sambala di nalola ship sabu shibiche shibza ding nanola ani penacha shana tsishingi ani thulani ju de khande ya lingi yore tine cholo ma khazulu du chigi yore tila tene ani nganzul kheben khaje thagu yore side di cha de dus di indu zambala di nalo la an tanji nganzu ani chap chesa ne chungsa jigla ma pabje ani lobri chedan chigda ya mena chungsa ne chesa lobri padan pamne ani ya thene ani rodan ni ginalo ne dilia mise ge tumo mai ba chik khanu sun ro theba yudin ju khari cha de gi yore sidu zambala koran nizu mi ge shiptal juwa chama se di ginalo ne ya nganzu le kheben khari yungu du se ge yan chik nizu phama chile yungu yor ba o didan tene ya chik ngori chedan cha de gi yores.
Good. Can we see a few more? Just a couple more?
Ani yanjo khashejik. Yes.
There's the tree
Rumuyanda.
again.
And maybe yes.
So which
Many
direction?
this there with tenda tunda shimaduna kardo.
Yes. See the tree again? Yes.
Tangana
Very good.
pe avondus chona shingdong gala enjo shingdong ren was dine.
Ah, mango. I like mangoes. Okay.
Mango.
So where would we start here? We start with the fruit that we are familiar with. We know what it tastes like, and then we go all the way into the nucleus.
Cheza da di unzu shuna de kande cha de gi yore spena cha shana nganzu duri shinde chik. Amda nganzu di sayal gabu yor was tene chik ne gochu je chap chesa tene gochu je tene ma ani ting sabsan nzun ru di zambala pike tini yosa pado an du sin nzun ru de rebe kande res di
Okay.
tagana rebe su haje remudi number the
Any more?
desi jada
아주 회관들 파주들의 행동되자요. 드니 행동되자. 드니 행동 내가 사상 드니 뭐 아니 다 암되잖아. 드니 때
on other page they said on other page they drew image of the tree and then from there the growing fruits and
Yes.
then specifically get into the details of the structures and then the components of the fruit.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. I'm going to show you what I drew. Let me remove the pin.
Okay,
Okay. And then let's see. So can you see mine?
Yes, we can see very clearly.
Okay, good. So I drew two different examples. So you start from general. So this is very big, very general idea, and then get very specific, and then tie it back to something more general.
제가 다 게랑 코랑게 디나로 리무브 페리는 마순다 니티 유스 니 나로네 찍디 카르 차데기 요르세든 삼바 담보 지시에 소저부치 제너럴 지시 지코 소저부치 지시에 소저부치 디네마 아니 바 미스카네 페게 셰다 찍을마 파빙야데체 디네 야 아니 지시에 간리야 도시야 텐드레 차데기 요레스.
The other way to do this, let me look here, is to start with a very fine detail and then make it broader.
제잔다 셴바지 가르쳐되기 요르시드 삼발라 당부 운주사 당부네 운주 슈자디 아니 미게 아니 시제기 아니 시자 참무 시비지니야 고추 드네야 아니 양 상간 마소니야 체르도체 아니 찹체살이야 두스 텐로에 차되기 요레스.
So sometimes when you're teaching science, you'll need to start with the basic elements because it's impossible to understand the full thing unless you know the details, right? So you cannot accomplish much until you know the very specific details.
제자 디치비 삼발라 감가 아니 간주 럽세 아니 운주 슈디 삼발레 당분에 코라 아니 시자 요산에 시제게 내림네 양고추나 럽디체네 야고 요레스 가르체네 레라나 아니 캡체사게 니주 차산도 제데 아니 촌한게 럽체기 피게 럽티기 탈람기 나노라 아니 차산지 툭투에디 칼레카부 차용기 요레스 아니 시제게 니주디 당보 아니 고추나 아니 갑갈라 야고 요레스.
Okay. So what I will encourage you as you are instructing and learning and teaching your students to think about what scale you want to start with. how can you make it so that they can understand what you're talking about? So you want to start with something they know already, they already understand, and then you can get into more details, and then you can go back out into the application.
Cheza diledu sambala da number zo churan zo gi ma lobti ani ju lobdu number zo gi shejung til chidu sambala number zo kumba khare shegu yore sidu sambala ani chigi mige lobti gi nalo la thanda ani ndre khare ni gi thon ndru gi imba se de res ani lobdu khoran zo gi khan shen ba ji ni ju je ba che an di thole ya ani ya ani mige ni ju khan shen ba de zo ne ani ma shipta khan ma phab che ngodu che tine yang chi she khan ya le ywa oda du trade number so ani kumba she go ke chimbu cha go res lobti thalam.
I'm going to share my slides again, I think. And here we go. Are we okay? Yes. So where you put your focus on the basics or on the practical?
Di that deal the sambala number zo tambu ani chigi mige mimben tesa dawdi kharte gu yore se sambala tambu yamena pige shiza jilete shiza dine ani ya pige lagtar pige len jungsu khande yime di khandes pige la lalen ke gu du se jorwa odit chade gi yores.
So it's a lot of words, but here's my goal for you for this week.
Da delen thani mambu cha da chi zo mambu cha do si ne da zo di ani dunda dig na no la an churan zo shi jung gi mi yu khare khare ni se jorwa o di ni cha de yes.
One thing I have learned from teaching Buddhist scholars for many years is you're very interested in how we know what we know. And I think that's very important in science also.
Cheza ani morangi da gindu banda basolia ani lupti mambu chebigi ani jurim gi nyamnyu na no la moran la thonan khari chungsu la na ani kran so manche ji nganju khan shen ba de khande singi yore se di khan la ya ani towa da chi gi ndumba da ndide shuk shem dus di ani sendi gi chapgun shen ba na no le ke chimbu cha de gi yores.
So I want you to be able to monitor and evaluate your own knowledge. I want you to be able to know when you know enough about a subject or when you need to get more information.
Cheza ani nengaji khari cha yungu yosidu sambala number zungwe ne ani susu gi nedun ji khande singi yume di chara che de je shindu shinmindu se te da ani di khali ya nizu ji shembala yanju nizu khanwen khari gudu se jorwa o di number so yang e gwe de kechim bucha de gi res.
I want you to be able to tell when you have enough background or when you need to seek additional background in order to be able to teach the topic.
Cheza dilleri sambala ani ya number so ma lobzen chiti chewala ani jabjungi nizu di ani kharse gore susulen dangwa ji thamdum mindu yan dang mena ani ya jabjungi nizu dange shembala khari thap gugudu ani lobzen thiala ani da dunzu de yan number so yan shem go de kechim bucha go yes.
So earlier this week, I joined Kelsey's class to see how the room was set up, and I just wanted to see what it looked like. But the minute I came in, there was a question that was asked about Alzheimer's disease.
Cheza di dunda da ngi din scenario khanda ani moran di Kelsey gi lobjen tv kablia ani chu din zindegi kuidi di khande du ta ya chi du sine ani da jushu cheba nis di ka tagana telia ani yanchi gi Alzheimer gi nasa den jebe gi ani thiwajile sons.
If I wasn't there, Kelsey would have answered the question, and I'm sure she would have done a fantastic job. But since I was there, she asked me because I have more familiarity with that topic.
Ani di indi zambala ani morale indi zambala ani chida ani kesi mora meba yimba yine ya ani Kelsey gi dilia lende ani ta chi chimba dawji dusini jab tuwe ko mora yiji US yimba yine ya morangi lendi ngala jab sumba res kharchine le di zambala ani digi alzama gada nazarwa didan jebi gi nizu mambuji moran la junga che ayo ba yin songza ani megi ani ngal dusini lendi jab dusini sumba res.
So as an instructor, you will have days like that. You will have things that you know and you're prepared to handle. But if there's a depth or a deeper way to go into it. Someone might have more information, and I want you to be able to know when to check in with, to search for, or to invite someone else to offer their knowledge.
Chezan diledi sambala da number choge ani susugi ani pege nizu khari shingi yume da charat dandre ani chidang susugi shingi yuba yimba ina ya di mating sabsana man zudu de sambala ya mi shemba telin chenja yaga yo dende yusigi res tende indi sambala an tende gi kap din number so ani mi shemba ani ya chik dendi shugu yenare ya mi shemba la kandi shugu yenare khari chigu ina ya di yan tudan sambege ani chigi pege jugu yo ro di ke chimbu chadegi yo res.
And the important reminder here is that as science teachers, there will be things you don't know, and it's okay to say you don't know. In science, not knowing just creates a curiosity to find out.
Cheza diledi sambala dan number so ani chigi siri gi di chigi di sambala ani choran so nano la nizu machine ba yuan yimba res ta khanda nizu machine ba yundi sambala ani sing mindu se di sing mena sing mela sing mela option digi res khariche na na ani siri gi nano la zo phige di nizu shinya di mayimba che zo de mige chik towa tuen joran dumba tuen jorwa shindu gi dumba ya chigi kuma che jorwa o da di cha digi res ta khanda.
It's also important to think that sometimes what you don't know is not just a reflection of your knowledge, but also the scientific field. Sometimes we don't know the answer to a question, and it's a general ignorance. It's not that you missed it, it's that we haven't figured that out yet.
Cheza dilebi sambala ya nizu chik namba zo kari nge gu yore sudi sambala kabnga ane chorangi nizu di shingi meba yimba inas. Di shingi meba yimba ina di nizu di ane chorangi mashimba za mares, di chorangi mashimba mare, di kabnga nizu kashi jin siri korang nanola len yo mares. Siri korangi pige soba korangi nanone chik karsi gore, dinzo le len shine ra indu sambala, and di chorangi mashimba mares, so ane siri korang tone pige da len me de jorwa, o tindege ne yang kem du res.
And that brings us to the 7th principle out of the 8 principles. You know, we're doing 2, 4, and 7 this year. And that 7th principle that says our natural curiosity to understand the world is going to help us to learn.
Cheza dilebi sambala number so tanjing anzu tenzing trubdin soha je dawju was je nalone dumbadi tanjing anzu so digi nanola niba da shiwa ani dumba che imbas da digi nanola nedun chi dumba de khari cha de gi yore sidu sambala ani chi nganzu pige lenki gi dumba dawji tona dawji ta chi zamning gi chawa chedan khande khande ime se jorwa digone shinde no andi imbas.
Okay, so that's one of our goals, and at the end of this week you should be able to be very good at knowing when you know what you know and when you need to find more information.
Chezan dilebi sambala da nganzu dig dunta ani thama delia ani cho number so kari gugu yore chidi sambala da miyun masuna di cha digdo ani choran kari shingi yume de susu gi ngotha che bache ani mashin badelia ani nizu phama kari gugu yume se jorwa o tundu chedi da chigin kim bache jorwa o di ani thanda dunta digi ani ta chigi miyu do inserta dins.
The other important thing I want you to be able to do by the end of this week is to figure out what strategies work for each of the topics that you are going to teach.
Cheza ane ta tile shembe gi yam dunta digi nanola number zogi tugu gi miyu shemba ji khari yin sidu zambala ane choran zogi jushi mandawa ma ane lubdi chebe kabla ya an lubdi gi jushi susu la pa begi tse sigi yoba inare talam sigi yoba inare da dunzo khari khari kuju chegi yin se di cha de yus.
And I know Mina and our friends from Pedagogy at the beginning taught you about the different ways to understand knowledge. And there are formative and summative. And I'm sure you went over all these different strategies that you can use. And I want you to be able to tell which strategy is appropriate for which type of learning.
Cheza dilebi sambala ane number zoliya ane Lopti gi thalam da David Tone, and a game Minada, and a Korangi Lerosogi, and a number soldus in a Chiri Cheres, and a Chiti Chichi Junim Nanola, and a Jundingi Chifida, and a chick Dombigi, that Samitic, the Nangazu Chifi in the Yungu Yuas, or Dinzugi Nanone, and a Yan number Sogi, Kombashi, Tanda, Lobzen Chibi Nanola, Chifi Karikari Pijitangu Yume, and the Zutedia, and a Pijokaritangu Yume, dear Gombashiro Cheese.
And then we will need to know how to assess that our students have learned.
제자 아니 연종아주 가르친 구구열에 시도 참발라 아니 롭주 든주기 신도 민도 따야래 아니 아주 집시 간디치기 마세디 차되기요. 그래서 가주 신도 따야 돼.
So, you have your Gaelic exams. This is the way that they find out if you know enough about what you've been studying. So we have to make sure that we are identifying appropriate ways to test, to check if your students have learned.
제자 다 디기 사람 지딩 아주 지카레 시도 참발라 아니 미겐 타마델이야 아니 롭생기 이제단데 차되기요. 와스 다 롭생기 이제단도 참발라 아니 아주 양 피게 롭주기 세제 센제 제야라 코 외신 참바 딱다시 그냥 코 제시지 구구요. 와스 디단 안 참베기 딱다시 고야 돼 개침 차되기요. 레스타 간다.
So for me, what I will be doing, I will be asking you to prepare 2 things by the end of our time together.
제자 다 겐라 코란기 토니 펜션 로 슈바 임바이나 아니 제시기 수도 안 넘버 솔이야 아니 둔탄 타마디기 나노라 제고야기 두고야기 아니 셈바칸 마존 셈바니 차데기 예스.
One will be a lesson plan for a topic in neuroscience, and the other will be an assessment that the students have learned. So that could be exam questions or something, but the 2 things I will need from you in your groups will be a lecture or some kind of instruction. You're going to have a plan, a lesson plan that you will demonstrate, and then you have an assessment for how to know if your students learn that material.
제자 딜레드 참발라 아니 튼젠카 아니데 가르차되기 라바임바이나 아니 당부디 넘버 저기 롭젠 셰다바지 아니 롭티긴 창고 체야드레스 롭젠 셰다바지 주시 셰다바지 또는 창고 디드고야레스 아니 셈바니바데 가르차되기 요레 랍디 참발라 롭투 저기 가지 신유메 따기 제시긴 셈바 고리 체야드레스 다 디긴 나노라 넘버 저 이제이나 가리나 초그레스 아니 비게 롭젠 창고게 나노라 넘버 저기 아니 비게 Lobzin and the Tia that lecture Chigora, Tia na and the Zug Tone any inch of rest that the animatic gel did Tamshi Chigu in Sarda demonstrate Chigu.
So, no, not that one. What I'm going to do in order to be able to do that, because I am teaching you and I want to be able to assess if you have learned. So I'm going to be asking us to come up with topics that you will be able to present on.
제자 딜레드 삼발라 다 겐라 코란게 응외네 아니 칼라고레 아니 피게레 칩시기 또 트와다 아니 야 아니 교란족이 아니 미게 시 가르서고레 아니 프레젠트 제 땀시 제야기 가르서고르다 주시니 마소나 드조테데 아니 키용고요레스.
Okay. So your assignment for your on-site instruction. So I know at the end of today, when we're through, I will start my day and you will rest. And then tomorrow, before I see you, you will have an opportunity to have an on-site session. During that session, you're going to be working on an assignment and about what every neuroscience student should know.
제자 다 딜레드 삼발라 아니 사니 다 지당안주 델리아 디오르 와스 단다 사네기 아니 단당안주 치디징에기 겐라 넘버서 요르 와스 아니 디유디 삼발라 아니 다 다링 아니 교란조 녜비쇼리아 아니 모랑게 피게 레가 셴바 체고야디체 아니 사니 넘버서인데 좀디 삼발라 다 지기 원전 세리기 롭투 진비쇼리아 아니 원전 세리기 롭투 진 신제라 아니 신고야기 튼생 다마다 응아지직 페지 어딘데도 kana 동교제 디치고 유스.
So to get to that point, we're going to start with a small group activity. So in your groups at your tables today, it's actually I'm going to do maybe about 20 minutes for you to work on this. So this will be quiet time. We can probably stop the recording during that time, because in 20 minutes, I'd like for you to work out with your table 5 things that you already know in neuroscience. And you're going to it's a group effort. So everyone at the table can contribute to it, and you're going to list at least 5. There could be more, but between 5 and 8. Don't go all the way to 10 things that you know in neuroscience. But I want you to categorize them in concepts, that is big picture, a little fact that is just one thing you know, right? So there are how many connections in the brain, that's a fact. But also skills. So you should be able to search in this scientific database. So I need you to be able to organize the 5 things you already know in neuroscience, specific to neuroscience, at least 5 things, and I want you to organize them by concepts or facts or skills.
That deal of Sambala number so that the young Anzuma Anchi Rugana and Pubche, any the Chegu de Sambala, any Pejin Dilia, Tuzu Pejikaman Yus Chick, the time the che, any did you do any that Tunze Naz Chick, Chonange Kanshemba, Tandangale Man Chona and US. Ani chona ngane ye paru de uchi cherwa dia an rugana no chamegi ani nyamshu yeba chik chamegi nyamshu yeba chik gu yes an denzu thede ma ani korim ma di undu chambala korim ne di undu chambala tangbu chap chesa gi the big picture chap chesa gi ani kodo chane ani ko khona ani tongcha gi chane kharre dine ya dendu ngui ni ju kharre sidu chambala ani lebe nano gi ani Chashi Suzu Barugu, Quebadan, Java in Endigres. Tene di any than Jedu Sambala, and a Choransogi, Anchigi, and Yamshigi, any Mishembegi, Yamshi Sani, Chonshan, Tindegi, Kung Tea La Soba, Tindechin and Digores, Kanda, any Korim di Didan, Dina La Chubaji, and Tea, and the ones that Sedigi, and Nedu Kanshimba, Sembangajik, or Ditangu, yes, Takanda.
And in addition to that, the 5 things that you already know, you should list 3 things that you need to learn. That is to say, I have an idea about this, but I really think I need to understand more about, right? So I have an idea about electrical communication, but I really need to know the action potential very well. Or I really need to know a little bit more about dementia, or whatever it is that you think you need to learn. I need from each table 3 things that you think you need to learn in order to be a good neuroscience teacher.
Chezanda diledi sambala digi kanliya number chungun kari gugu yu sudi sambala ani chura ani tanji di kan she simba ji ni tönse ngarwa ta tari yanju churang gi shin da shindu sebu shiraji shingi mewaje tandu di kan la kanu gi nizu mambu goye yanju jorwa pena cha shana ani nganzu ani wanze gi login timba logi da jorwa dingi Rabrijine Shingi de Yinea, Ani Pig Lenju Nubadan Jene Dinge Ships Shira Shingi Mesia Sondo Chigna. Yamenang Anzo Chik Tembanyam and Nazajora, Dementia, the Tembanyam Good Rejora, Tidan Driving Nizung, it is Haku Yote in a Dinga Ships Shira Shingi Mesia Sondo. Takanda, Ani Dinde, Ani Temba Sum Zig number 2, Ani Ruka Suzuganala, and Dinyam Neche, and Digu US, Kanda, Shinish them, Ma Chichimbajig, and Shiagichedo.
Do you have questions about this assignment that you are going to work on in your tables right now?
Ani number 2 ani charanzo didan jebi ges da ruka gna no la dus nyamne chere ndo tanda didan jebi ge anche ge chepsi didan jebi ge number 2 le ya ani thiwada dinde ke US.
You are welcome to use the internet, your primer, your notebooks, your textbooks, anything at all, as you refresh your memory on the 5 things you already know in neuroscience and the 3 things you still need to learn. I don't mind if you go and look in the glossary or in the table of contents of your textbooks. That's fine, as long as you produce at least 5 things you already know in neuroscience and 3 things you think you need to learn.
제자 딜레드 잠발라 넘버 주 튼쟁아 신기 유에스에 디기 아니 야 넘버 조기 지기 템바야 아니 지기 나 짜딘 체야기 체도 아니 결혼 조기 아니 타자 카리 표준하는 디기 유에스 타자 표준하는 디기 유 다가 나신 지기 아니 쪽지기 나노라 쪽지딘이야 넘버 주 롭진 카리 유나 표준하는 디기 유 디마인 베기야 지금 타니기 징주 딘데기 토네 야 지기 넘버 주 표준 카르타는 디기 유에스
And remember, you have to be prepared to describe if the thing you know is a concept, a fact, or a skill.
제가 딜레드 잠발라 넘버조 현안수기 아니 신선적이 된생아부디스 디 아니 동차 고도 시기나레 동차생 삼조 동차 주샤 아니 덴드레도 야만디 제지레도 덴조 카르나로 추구 유메디 양지기 넘버조기 고림 파 아니 디토바지 제국레스.
Okay, so 20 minutes.
Last 20 minutes. Kaman you should have US number sola. When Tamba Shembader does, Suzukar Shingi, you say.
Karma, should we pause the recording?
The recording the post session and dig the Sigdu. Kajana. We can start.
Excellent. Thank
Yes.
you. Okay, so how was that exercise?
Number so Jonda de Kande Chong Song Song. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
should have been difficult. It should feel hard.
Yeah. This chick number so Kaz Chong you Gugres. This chick Kabudo Chong is. Yes.
Yeah, because there's so much. I wanted you to feel the magnitude of how many different things there are that you already know and how many things there are that you still need to know.
제가 다디 카레레시디 삼발라 넘버 저기 아니 지금 수수기 같이 신임 받디 지 잡세는 마선도 전부 시비지로와 디인디 삼발라 아니 주 도도스디 데스칼레 요르와 안 다가 너신 지기 아니 양 안조 아니 가르신 고유 신dio 가르유에세 요르와 어디 체임디 삼발라 다테스 식 카본다고 요레 라기요 다음에
I wanted you to struggle a little bit with identifying just 5 or so things that you know. Many of you have completed the 6-year curriculum. Others of you have been to Emory and studied. And so there's a lot that you do know, and it should feel hard to try to distill it and to make it fit into such a small space.
제가 딜레디 삼발라 단 넘버 저지다 아니 지기 전생아 투나라마 도시네 아니 domshu sidu sambala ani number zo mangbujini ani lorim thugi yage ge subject de thuen sanjoje di nalo ne yang gaje jing emoril dus thuen bache di di sambala susu gi seja di chik chap chimbu ro che di nalo la pha thense nga thunan ma dushu se indi sambala tis chik pigela kangen ro jin the de chik tinde gi ani choasile gwadi ani chade gi rest le gu yo rest numbers of page.
Another thing I want to point out is that I could have given very specific instructions and just told you what to look for, but in making it difficult for you to think and talk with others about it, you accomplish more. You get more out of the experience.
제자 아니 셴바질이야 겐랑 코랑기 가르체 요 초우요레 라바이마이나 아니 네드 셰다바치 아니 교나조 디체쇼 디그랑 칸라 체쇼스마 람네 디든 디기요레스 임바이나야 넘버2 두시 칼레지기 아니 주림나라 파 아니 넘버2 냠주에 체제 디슈 윤디 삼발라 아니 툼데르 마손나 타베디 아니 딜마 용데기요레스타.
Some of my students here they get frustrated that I don't have like exact things that I tell them to go look up. It feels like they have to work hard to figure out what they're even learning. And sometimes they get frustrated, but I'm okay with that frustration because in the end, they get more out of it.
제자 아니 겐랑 코랑기 두왈 아니 롭주 넘버 졸이야 레세 디소도 부딘데 마 아니 쿠이디 삼발라 아니 가시직 아니 코란조직 ji kulung sha sa na da semba thu ya la so ba tinde gi ni su phigel ani long la ya da tinde yong di dos di ne long la ne ani ji gi dos khar chine la na di gi jumje di ani jel ya ani tumde ya go ji thön yong gi ya resta khanda.
Okay, So now I'm going to ask each table to share, and we'll go very quickly. The first few tables will have more work because they'll tell us theirs. Well, we'll move around one table, then another one. And so what you'll see eventually is that there will be overlap in the things that each table came up with.
Da dile di sambala number 2 du sine nganzo ani da chokze gi ruka yor wa ruka ni du sine ma che anjina ruka tangbu dil ta tis ni ju she ma ji yungur wa ani ma ni ba ma du sama po du pa ma tun chen du di sambala ani mangbu shibi ji nganzo kya du yang du cha du gur wa ni ju ji khang shu san ju ji di cha du di sambala nganzo du sine ma an jing jo gon ro jin ro tu ya gi di chi gi nis.
Okay, so I will share my screen and I will keep notes. So I will keep notes in English, and you're welcome to, we'll organize this as we are looking for the concepts that every neuroscience student should know, right? So this is where we're heading. Right now, we're looking at what do you know and what do you think you need to know? But tomorrow you're going to work on what every neuroscience student should know, and we will together come up with that. So I'm just going to keep track of some of these things, right? So I did this one as an example. I wrote the action potential. I know the action potential, it's a concept. And then you can add details like, I know the action potential generally, but I don't know enough about potassium, that kind of thing.
Cheza da dile bi sambala da number 2 ta tani ani gela khorang gen dinala ma ani number 2 gen dre da ma teje ma du sine di che yins so we khar re si du sambala ani sani ani wanza se di lo ma yin bi sho ya nge ba du shen go ya khar re si de digile si chegu de cha de yores da tari number 2 na lo ne su su khan shin bi gi ani tönzen nga jig da ani khan shin de yoye gi jang go ya gi tönzen sum di cha de yor was ani pe na cha shan di na lo gela khorang gi ani pe zun chig di ani lenjuk nuba de dosine tiores lenjuk nuba di ani kodo jimba da tokcha jimba de nge ha go yes ine ma shibsan ro du sambala an tanda nganzo ani tanda di na lo la ani potassium gi je jo wa dinini pha zo potassium da shamba jor dinini gi ani log jwa chung yor wa o di ni zu ni shibda shing me se so do di chan ru wa res.
Okay, so let's start with table 8. We have 8 tables, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, let's start with table 8 and just tell us something you know.
Yeah, Jose Ruga Jeba, Nin Singa Ruga Jeba Yudizambala, Kuran Sogi, and a Kanshin begin Nizukashi dos in a Yasonro cheese, Tananga.
Mazoji showing out the brain, neuron, dendrite, axon, brainstem.
So the five things they already know about are the dendrite, any brain
neuron,
stem, neuron,
and brainstem.
yes.
And then I took chicken the chamba concept, fact, skill chamba.
There's got the brain stem che, any neuron che, any shamba kharkari with sanga samason.
Sounds good.
Not the angela.
The
Brain che, any
the neuron
che, dendrite che,
and sure the
axon che,
and brainstem.
Okay, these 5 things, yeah, they already know.
Okay, good. I will call that generally neuroanatomy. So you know the brain and the brainstem, and then you know the different parts of the neuron, right? So you know the structure of the neuron. So I'll call that, and I consider that to be facts, right? So when you call it a fact, it's like we nobody's arguing about how many lobes there are in the brain anymore. This is not to be discovered. We know, and we count the lobes, and we know the dendrite. We're just going to call those facts.
Ta dile di sambala gela khorangi ani duzu te zo khar cha du du si sambala wanze gi ani koba den debi gi cha nedun cha du dus ta wanza imba inere tanda chorangi lab de wanze dalenda ani dalen sa den da ki sa den da khari imba ina da duzu te di ani zo ani wanze koba den dewa cha de dus pen cha shana wanze gi ndama shi yor was duzu te di ani misuji gi yo mares ni choba ge yu de ke yo mares di du sambala di ani dendun gi ni zu cha de dus.
Very good. Do you agree that it's a fact or do you want to call it something else?
제자 number 2게 D 아니 덴든지 임바디 number 2는 아니 ngule yue mes 야면은 number 2 D 안 차시 D게 아니 셈바 징나로 추기 있을라고 US
ngazugen di tumusum time bage ena exon roirage exon the gender di korla ngazu fake karishigi me andela concept karishigi me ra skill karishigi me chigla ngazu chara karni decision.
So actually they exon and the dendrite considered as some sort of concept instead of fact.
Okay. All right. Well, I would be prepared to argue with you about that. Tomorrow we can start to fight about that.
다 산이 결혼을 디냠도 갑자기 자기 쩨바게 초고요. 산이 가서 디가는 쟁고스.
Okay. All right. Let's hear from group 7.
야, 루가 듬바.
Our groups, what we already know are sleep enzyme melatonin secretion, neuron transmission, action potential, refract arc.
What? Just what? One.
One.
Yeah. Okay. What we already know are first sleep enzyme melatonin secretion.
Melatonin secretion.
Melatonin.
And you learned that in biology this year, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I know. When I saw that, I said, this is really cool. Neuro is taking over even biology. Okay. And do you consider that a fact or concept or skill?
제전 디 가르나노 콘탕게.
나.
디 차시 송 나노네 가르 덴데 고도 야면에 제간 가르간 땅게.
완전을 시에버들이 당보 시에버지도 하기.
마시에서 저디 덴제 송 나노 땅고르와 덴제 가기 나노 땅요디.
Concept 나노 땅.
Concept.
Yeah, I both, right? So you have to know some facts about melatonin, and then you have to know the concept of the secretion and what it does, what the function is. Yes.
제자 니가 추디기 어레스 가르에서 잠발라 당봉의직 멜라토닌 가리 이메디 셴디 덴드레스 디 자와 가리 체기 이메다 디던 제네 니주 가리 연구 이메세디 에도주 체디 아니 고도 차디기 어레스 동차 차디기 어레스.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay.
So concept is sorry.
Okay, you want to jump next to the table number 6 or?
Yeah, so I'm trying to collect different ones from each table, pick something that the other table, because many of you will have the same things.
만체ල් 찍바 요레스타 간다 만라와 두시네 두루 치기 총기 누구인 쓴다 루카 죽바 저저
아니 ngazu danda ani ngadi gar la shano wangza te mala chi ja yoro
central nervous system
ani dida takur wangza mala ja yore
타네 원자 말라
takur wangza mala
타고 말라 원자 peripheral nervous system
Peripheral nervous system, so CNS.
ani
choda ma ja yore
and hippocampus
ani kamzi lejo lejo
amygdala
Okay.
ani thangdu membu laidi
pineal gland.
Okay, so more neuroanatomy. I'm going to put group 6 also has some neuroanatomy facts that they know, but I also like the divisions. This is important. The central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system are different, and it's important to know that. And then you mentioned the limbic system, which is also really important. So these are really good. Yeah.
다드주테디 아니 조디 만체지기 완제 꿰바다 차괴단 되어 요체 디 나노 넘버 조야파 아니 바 인제도 체인디 삼발라 아니 테웨 말라다 타네 말라다 아니 안 타고 말라다 드주테디 패키지 보레스.
And I recognize table 6 as Tashilompo group.
Ruko to the Tashilompo group Rejas. Yes, he's from Tashilompo.
Okay. All right, table 5.
Yeah, table Rugang Yangawa.
아니 ngazu da
ane ngazu shewa di gare le lana ta tangbo ngi de do song ro ane lebe ane damashi kor de che ane
4 lobes,
ane tewe wangza mala ta thago wangza mala
is same as the previous one, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system.
dingi dro cha song ro dingi ga ane da pai chimba sumni name ane dendo nan ju ndo do ro
Yeah, these are falls in the category of the fact.
ane sumba de ane lebe dubcha de shi yus
The components of the neurons, brain,
ti yang yang ane
different parts of the
dendo
brain,
nan do ro
that also falls in the category of the
ane
fact.
shiba de ane wangza thazu ngi ki bala ane da tong jul de ane shigyo ti na
The fourth
concept
one
nan do
is the interaction between two neurons, sending and receiving and transferring different signals.
Yes. Okay, stop. Neurotransmission, signal. Right. Okay. And are those facts, concepts, skills?
제가 먼저 다 유동체적으로 dunzu 체디 아니 덴데르베 제르베 야메나 카레스.
godo na re
고도 concept.
Yes, I like it. It's a very important concept. This communication between neurons is a really important concept. So this is something that you're familiar with and you know.
제가 다 원자 타주 펜주 빨리아 아니 단데 칸데 치기요레 세디에 조르와 다 유동 칸데 치기요레 세디에디 아니 나바조 시행고에기 아니 고도 아니 개 첨부지 차되기요레스 동차.
ane ngabadi ane nyongchur kangjuwa ina ane lebadang ane gyungba ngila da tongwa cham shigiyos
And the fifth one is whatever experience we get, actually it has to go through the nervous system and then the spinal cord.
Yeah. So the experience. So I'm thinking about that. So how does what's outside get inside, right? So
Yeah.
interaction, experience and interaction with the environment. Yeah.
Okay.
ane ngaju da ngaju ane jaya dobaji yoro di khare yonilana
Di mala na digi usatanda shini yeah. Maybe you want to move back, move
Yes, we have to go to table. This was table 5.
table 4 next, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, table 4 lada.
Okay, we think we already know is first action potential, second is the structure of neuron, third is the function of neuron, fourth is type of neuron, fifth is sensory neuron system.
Okay. Very good.
Also,
Let's see.
what we wanted to know is first the Alzheimer's disease, second is emotion, third is memory, fourth is mind.
Hold on. Let's go around and get some more of knowns. And then when we finish all the tables, then we'll come back. And we're going to try to hurry because I know we have only a few more minutes. But yes.
Ani samar dos mar rimba je ko je kora je jendra sir. Okay. Table number 3.
We know that the basic types of neurons, and the second one is neuron signalings, and third one is structure of brains, and the fourth one is make neuron structures, and fifth one is the visual system. Roughly, we know that just roughly. Yeah, that's all.
No, that's a very good one. Visual system is very important too. Yeah. Okay. So give me an example of types of neurons. Table 3. You said you know types of neurons. Give me examples.
There are 4 types of neurons, and first one is multipolar, and the second one is unipolar, and third one is bipolar, and fourth one pseudo unipolars.
Okay, very good. Very good. Nice. Okay. Table 2.
So the onza malache tampodi nibade
Nervous system.
Isn't
Nervous
here.
system.
Yeah.
onza malache sa ani lebi demashi
4 lobes.
ani loda da zidan rotan
The transmissions of electrical and chemical signals.
ani onza koba da kije
On the Kobada, Sheju. the structures of the neurons and their specific properties.
아니 돈제말라.
통소말라.
통제말라.
통제말라. Okay. And the visual system.
Nice. Very good. And table 1, last but not least.
Yeah,
Our first one, nerve cells, hippocampus, amygdala,
Yes.
and memory, and then emotion.
You know memory and emotion?
A little.
Good. Very good. These are big concepts. Okay. Nice. All right. So table 1, keep the mic and tell me things you still need to know.
아니 다가나 디네마 단도 신도 윤교디.
숨라.
숨데.
Sleep.
You want to learn more about sleep? Yay, me too.
Yeah. Dream.
Sleep. Oh, I don't know anything about dreams. Okay. All right. Let's get another table.
Yeah. So you want to go through the reverse process?
Yes, just go reverse.
Okay. Yeah. Niba.
진도에 린주누바. 아니
Action potential.
레반네라고 랑실라지도.
레바카레.
원산 내로 랑실.
Yeah, neuron plasticity.
아니 로다다 지단로다 14보.
More detailed, elaborated descriptions on the transmissions of neurons signal. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm actually going to put detail as something that you need more of, right? So we know some concepts, but we need to learn specific details. So I like that a lot. Okay. More? Other table?
Table number 3.
We want to know that the endocrine system, how the glands are working in the body.
Yes.
Endocrine system, okay. Honey, table number 4.
We want to know Alzheimer's disease and emotion, memory,
Alzheimer's disease.
mind and body and
Emotion,
internal regulation, cognitive neuroscience.
Thanks. Any group number 5.
Nganzo di temanyamyu kor chikche ani leju nuba kor ani semyo na dushi kor.
Temanyamgu dementia and
leju nuba
and action potential.
Semyo na
Okay.
What leads to memory loss or some sort of attention deficiency or some sort of dementia, whatever.
Okay, good.
class ke semyo na dushi kor shede.
Sinyun dan dishe. And perception and emotion.
Perception. Very good. And emotion. Very good. Oh, where did it go? Come back.
Yeah, ruka ngawa. Ngawa saso tukba. Group number 6.
Action potential jirasha.
Action potential.
Memory and sleep.
Yes.
Ani ruka dumba.
The suprachiasmatic nucleus.
Suprachiasmatic nucleus.
Yes, that's circadian rhythms. Very
Circadian
good.
rhythm, yeah.
Any action potential details.
Yeah, details on the action potential.
Yes.
And dine ruka.
How men and
Chigla dong, yeah.
how men and women brain works differently.
Kharsa.
How
Women and men differs their brain function.
Yes, sex and gender, and that
Sex
can be
and gender,
related
yeah.
to the endocrine system. Very good.
And then last group number 8.
You want to know more about the brain disease? Brain disease.
Yes.
Disease.
Also,
Brain disease.
wish to know the connection between emotion and brain.
Yes. Emotion, definitely. Okay. All right. So thank you all for this exercise. So one of the things that it would be easier if I was there in person and we'd create something all together. But what I want to show you and revisit, let me stop my share, is where we are in this. So what you described that you know a lot of general things, but you want more detail. Right? So you know a lot of very general things in this area, but you're asking for more detail so that you can connect it back to other things. Right?
Yes, that number so dana nganzo do sine any chiki mi mambu chiki nyamle chen de sambala yan chik kho khar se gore tab debu da lela u do che inju zo thari number so khar re si sambala ane ine ma ane chikho jigne ma khar se gore da chisie jine ma ane number so ane nizu jik chidom dhawji shingu yo bache tine ma number zo shindu yo de khar re sha se yu sambala ane ine ma ane ship chasa jil ma ship chasa gi ane nizu khan ane yan chigi chichimba shin sadu sambala ane ine chidom khale ya antuga khande gyagu du se de ne dundi cha de dus.
So you can see that the list of things that you know and the list of things you need to know overlap. There's a lot of the same things on both.
Cheza number zo yan dinalo la ane nedunchi khar du sila ba imbai na kran zo khang shimba shin chan jo te da ane yan shindu yo ba zo ki porule yan ane chigi nizu ni nyamdele dewa chadu cha dewa tindere yungu duas.
Okay. So thank you for doing that. Based on these answers, and I will put this in our Google Classroom or Google Drive so you can see it. But tomorrow during your on-site session, I want you to work in your tables to select from this group, right? And think a little bit more thoroughly about what all neuroscience students should know. Now, your students are different from my students. You're going to be teaching Tibetan monastic students. So what do you think Tibetan monastic students need to know about neuroscience? And you list that. And you're going to work in your group to figure out what that curriculum should look like.
That number two, any number two, the Nyamju Chewa Delia, any Tuji Shugis. Ane so di khare sidu sambala ane number 2 gi thanda di tuition jo du che di gela morangi Google gin zada nano ya du sine luwis di lu sa we jel ya ane number 2 so khare che Google yore sidu sambala sani che go di gin nano la ane wanza seri gi loma shigi ngone ngeba do shin go ya gi ane dyon khare se di cha ding yus dig nalo ne number 2 gi lobdi che sa di ya dwala chi gwende gi lobdu dan phebe gi lobdu cha di gi du sambala ane khunjul ya ngeba do shin go ya gi ane wanza gi khar se gore chashi keche do khare cha di dus o dires di number so ane shi che sa di thari nganju di nalo la ni zu mangbuji ane ruka nyamdu gi thone che du sambala an dig ta che di nalo damse gemne ndigi yo resta khanda dil shi sune.
So I hope that you will be able to submit that so I can see it by at least 1 hour before class. And then we'll put them together and come up with the list that we agree on. Then from that list, each group will select a topic that they will prepare to present a lesson by the end of this week.
Cheza da number 2 digi ani nangle di number 2 ngene ani sani lobse manzo ngwe ge chuze chig nalo la ani genla khorang gi thwa ye deba chik phige la dinalo lu chawa che di chawe jele ya ani ngara zu chame ge mindu ye shinjo gi ani jweshi dinde jig demdu chene ani dige gi nalo la ani ruka su le ya ani jema di khala lega che gi du sine ani changwe che da din sar on di du sine nang yins.
Do you have questions for me before we break?
Ta number so ani madring liya number so mi se gi thiwa do dine ke US miss no
You're tired. Okay. Thank you to Geche Sangpola. You did a great job.
Thank you.